My name's Jennifer Robison, for those of you that came in, and I'm a retail specialist, and what I do is I specialize in retail environments, and that would include what I call the energy, the vibe, and the spirit of the store, as well as the hardscaping of it, you know, the fixtures and the displays and the products. There's a very important element to your store, and that is basically the spirit of the store. That is one element that maybe you hadn't thought about, that hadn't crossed your mind, or that you had considered had an influence on your customers. So that's why I like to do this session here. So I made this one up specifically for this group. Not that I know anything. I don't know that you guys specifically need it, but let me give you an example of what you might see in a store. Let this picture kind of ooze into you. What does it make you feel when you see a store like this? What do you is there an impression that immediately comes to you? Cluttered, overwhelmed, unable to maintain, unorganized, not prepared for business, maybe a number of things. How about this picture? Pretty sweet. Does this picture inspire you? Is there anything in there that says, wow, this is a new product? Yeah. Okay, another picture. Do you feel an urgency to buy? It's, well, and it's just like, it looks like to me the back stock room is out front. Just on slot wall. It's just a back stock room.
Yeah.
How about this? Yeah, where do you focus your attention? So one thing I didn't touch on in the last, the number one most valuable piece of real estate in a store is your parts counter. So what happens there is vital, because that is the first place most customers stand, and they look within that 20 feet around there. And if the products don't speak to the customer and say something or express something or tell you something, do you care? You don't care. It's just stuff hanging on a wall. And here's the thing. This is a vibe. I mean, what is the vibe telling you? It's not telling you anything. It's like, okay. You hope that you get the guy's attention, and you hope that you get a chance to engage with that guy. And in some cases, you won't ask him the questions you wanted to ask because you've already judged them. I hate to say it, but we prejudge people without even speaking to them, which is the worst thing ever, right? But it happens. So that's why I think the vibe and the energy matters. And part of it is the physical vibe, and part of it is just the energy that you project. So vibes, energy, speaks louder than words. The meaning of vibe has everything to do with a state and an atmosphere. So it's what people feel when they are dealing with you or dealing with your store. What is it that you project to them in the case of energy? Do you know that energy speaks before you do? So if you walk around kind of curmudgeonly and so my favorite thing is this. You may work in service, whatever, and you got papers in your hand and you're just intense and you're looking down and you're very intense. Anybody want to do business with you? No, you're not approachable. If you're not approachable, I probably don't want to deal with you. I probably don't want to ask you things, and you probably don't value my time either. So you might be projecting a body language that you're unaware of. So for me, for example, I'm sitting out here at this booth. I can't just sit down and look all the time, even though I have stuff to take care of. I've got to look up, I've got to look open, I've got to smile. Otherwise, you just think, ugh, what is she doing here? So you have to be very, very conscientious of your body language pretty much at all times when you're in public. What you do at home with your family is a different deal, but it really is the same. They probably don't like you much either when you come home. So you and your team are constantly being judged. You might be the upbeat one and the team might have the problem because they're tired, they've been working long hours, something went wrong, it's been a long season, I don't blame them for that. But what is it costing you in sales opportunities? What is it that's not happening? Do you project that you're too busy? I know it's so simple, way too busy. And you do that on purpose. I'm just way too busy to handle this right now. It's like you're way too busy to make money and a new customer. You want to think about those things very, very carefully. So your vibe is one of those things that you can control. And I touched on this in the last session, but for those that weren't in it, you can't control the economy. You cannot control weather. You can't control what the customers do until they come to your store. And the only thing you can control is how you communicate, how you merchandise, the products that you have, your hours, whatever, the programs, whatever. Those are the things that you can control and use to influence, but nothing else. So if that's what you had control of, what would you do with it? It's the most powerful tool that you have. Because believe it, and I know I'm the worst offender on this, it's how I respond to things. I guarantee you that stuff is going to go wrong. That you're going to have an equipment failure, that the city's going to come to you and say that there's a permit you need, that the county wants more money, that your state taxes just went up, that your employee costs went up. All of that stuff is going to grind on you. And as I touched on again on the last one, it's all of those things can kill your spirit. Your spirit is the only thing you have. And you have to work to protect it. And you have to keep it upbeat. And you can't let all the outside things bring you down. Being in a business is so hard. It's such a commitment. And it definitely can really pull on you. But how you deal with it is your choice. And as a leader in your stores, you have a lot more responsibility on that because you are leading a team of people and their spirit. So apparently, according to this survey, 50% of it is just sort of how you're wired. Some people are just wired crabby. They're just crabby folks. And that's too bad because I know what it's like to be crabby. I'm really good at it. I don't know, it's not something I should be proud of, trust me. But I'm exceptionally good at it at times. But it's a choice. I can choose not to be crabby. I can choose to block out the things in the world, and especially like the news. Oh my gosh, I'm just going to recommend that you don't turn on the news in the morning. It's not news. It's meant for you to get fired up so they can sell you more stuff. Music is good for you. A cup of tea is good for you. Going and petting the dog is good for you. Doing some yoga, some stretches, swimming, I don't care what it is. There's a lot of things that are a lot better for you that you could do to control to make your day better. Because there's always going to be those circumstances. So I would ask you if you can find a way to work with your teams to find a way to daily have a good day. Have everybody have a good day. Talk about having a good day. If somebody's the crabby guy in the store or gal and you can't get them to change, maybe they shouldn't be on staff anymore. You can't have toxic people pulling you down because it's hard. A salesman minus enthusiasm is just a clerk. Sales is our #1 job. We need people to sell. We don't need somebody to hold the counter up. We don't need a place filler. We need somebody that's a problem solver. We need somebody that's a solutionist. We need somebody that's educated. And all of those things will bring you a lot more return in the long run because it's the people that make a business to me. It really is. So I want you to, like I talked about a little bit, I want you to love selling. Everybody in here is selling. You're selling to another customer, you're selling to a client. Everybody in here is selling. Practice it, think about it, talk about it, value it, celebrate it. It's a good thing. It's an amazing skill. Find a way to enjoy kicking butt. It's good when you make a sale. Don't you feel amazing when you made that sale? You feel good. There's such an energy burst with that. And then the next one and the next one. If there was anything that anybody should be addicted to, it's that good feeling you get when you closed a sale. So I believe in 1, 2, 3, take a breath, and ABC, always be closing. Have you guys ever heard of the ABC before? That is so important to think about. You're making a sale, you want to close that sale, you're going to feel good, it transfers to everybody in the store, and on we go again. Magic! And that's going to start with cleaning what they call, some people call it head trash. It's the self-limiting beliefs, thinking no one can afford this, we shouldn't bring it in the store, no one's going to buy this, we don't have any help. Whatever negative stuff that you've built up in your minds, and I guarantee you if we had an exercise and we were to write down 5 things that you believe, I guarantee it's all baloney. It's not true. You just have built these things up in your mind that you can't do something, and then it stays there, and then your employees have it, and it is a toxic to your sales ability. So one of the things is, as teams and having meetings, instead of having a meeting where you're just griping, you want to talk about beliefs. And again, what I talked about before a little bit was objections. What are the top objections you get from customers, and practice how to overcome objections. Well, we can't buy this because, or a customer may say, and you know what they are, you've been dealing with them every day, but yet you don't practice them. If you practice them, they will go away. You're not going to win every single battle, but that comes down to cleaning out what's going on up here and getting rid of those belief systems. Because if you don't believe in what you're doing, you won't sell anything. Period. And if you got the negative Nelly in the store who is poo-poo about everything, this won't sell, that won't sell, this sucks, that's ugly, no one cares, it's too much money, that guy or gal has to go. Can't be on my team. These are the things that I think are really valuable, and I wish somebody had told this to me when I was younger. You know, if you don't go for it, you'll never get it. Am I right? If you don't ask, the answer is always no. Nope, not doing this. Nope, not doing that. And if you don't ever step forward and take a risk, why are you in business? Retail is nothing but risk. It's detail and risk. There is no magic button. We get lucky, we get fortunate on timing, we get some good products or a good economy or something else happens, like you hate to say a hurricane, but is a hurricane good for chainsaws and UTVs? Why, yes it is, because the checks come. And when the checks come, people got to replace their stuff. Sometimes it's a new car, sometimes it's an ATV, for sure it's other things. So sometimes we get gifted opportunities. But the bottom line is, we have to constantly push ourselves out of our comfort zones. All the time in retail. All the time. And it can be hard because you want to get in that set it and forget it. And you want that box to stay the way it was. And then your employees are going, we need to do this and we need to do that. And you're like, nope, 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 nope. So you got to examine, are you that no person in the store? Or are they the no people? Who in the store is the no people? Because it's not about attaining perfection. Don't try to go for perfection. You're never going to get it. Have you ever had it? There are moments that are perfect in your life, trust me. When I went to the Tom Petty concert here this year at the Red Rocks, that was perfect. Who knew he was going to die? Actually, I kind of thought he was, but that's another story. It was the way he made the video about this being the last tour that clued me into that. But anyways, it's not about being perfect. Perfect is a lucky situation that happens. It's about the effort. Customers like effort. Customers don't expect perfect. They expect effort. They expect energy. They expect enthusiasm to do business with them. That is a very little thing with a huge effect, ultimately. So I want you to, there are some people that believe motivation isn't something you can practice, and it's hard to get, and it doesn't stick with you. So the motivation, it could be, to be more positive, to make changes in the store, to try things new, to do a promotion, to go out on a limb. There's a lot of different things that you're going to do in a motivating way, but it's like a bath. Even though some people say you shouldn't take a bath daily, it's not good for you, I'm going to do it anyways. I want your people to believe in crushing it. I was fortunate enough to work with a perfect team back in the 90s at a Harley store, and we had the perfect team. We could non-verbally communicate with each other, and we knew what to do and when to do it and how to handle the customer, and you could feel it. And when I get together with those people today, we can go back into that immediately. There is such a thing as a chemistry, and chemistry matters. And when you have it within your team, it's unbeatable. And I would rather pay somebody more money that had chemistry than 4 people that had nothing. Because those people will bring you business like none other. So I like having a spirit of we're gonna crush it. We're gonna kill it today, we're gonna own it. And nobody, but nobody, is gonna beat us in any way, ever. And when you do that, and you think that, and you look at my eyes the way I'm looking at you, you get what I'm saying. So when I'm selling to customers, I go for their spirit. I listen to them, I read their energy, they read mine, I get them, and we go. And there is nothing more exciting than working with customers in that way. So what I'd rather you guys do, instead of making excuses, I want you to make money. The excuses will come all day long. I promise you. You gotta crush them. You gotta crush every excuse that comes up, because that is your body bringing up fears to hold you back. Every day. And every day you're gonna try to overcome these excuses and the team's excuses, but when you do it and you take power over it, you'll be surprised how differently you feel and how customers respond. Ever heard that what the definition of insanity is, right? Expecting a different outcome from the same input? Change the input, change the vibe, change the approach. I promise you, customers will respond differently and in a way that you want them to respond, because honestly what we do in sales is initiate customer behavior. We want them to behave by shopping the store more, asking more questions, buying more stuff. That is a behavior. And the only way to do that is to change your own behavior. It works immediately. It's the weirdest thing. I practice on my husband all the time. So what you guys need to be as a team is you need to be goal diggers. All of you together. If everybody's on the same page, that's when you have that miracle chemistry team. If the goals are just your own and the team aren't on the goals, then they have their own lives. They're the ones that are coming in late and leaving early. But if they're in the goals and they have their own set of goals under the large pool of goals, they're gonna buy into what you're doing. And that's the key in a small business, is how you can navigate your people, because honestly, that's the hardest thing. The hardest thing is managing your people. Everything else, not that hard. Difficult, but not that hard. So I want you guys to take your happy pants, put them on every day so that you can go places. Because the only way to go places is to start with your spirit. And if your spirit isn't in a good place that day, why is that? What can you do to change that? What is it that you have in your habits that might not be helping you? Change it. Change what you eat, change when you sleep, change if you go for a walk, change who you talk to, change how you handle something. Make a change in something, your life is going to get a little bit better. And it isn't easy. I'm not telling you that, like, oh, it's 30 years of habits, 40 years of habits, 50 years of habits, right guys? But when you're aware of stuff, it makes it easier to think. Am I coming across crabby to this? Am I coming across to people as difficult? Am I coming across people as negative? Or am I over-friendly? I go to stores where people are over-friendly and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Balance. I would ask you to strike a balance. Somewhere in the middle. Not crabby, not looking like you're tired, and not so happy, like, can we help you? Did you get help today? Do you need something? Could you go away? So you always want to be careful with that kind of stuff, right? So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to come in here today, and I hope that there's enough takeaway